Apex, they are finally on the board, and we will be seeing a map 3 in this elimination match. I am your host, Yingsu. I'm now back here with Kakuka and a very special guest, the head coach of Giant X Pips, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting.
Yeah, it's nice to have you here. As I said, Apex are finally on the board. Kakuka, what a great way for them to do this during elimination.
You know, last week we were speaking about how the synergy wasn't there, especially for the map of Pearl, and probably the synergy just flew in this morning, landed in Berlin. Yes, love to see that running the double duelist just worked so well for them.
Yeah, and Danny, of course, we always love to hear your takes on, compositions and stuff. So here on Pearl, what do you make of this, and did you expect this to work the way that it did?
Not really. I think that this attack side is a little bit complicated if you play against a really good team with this composition. But defense is a really big surprise factor because there is so much aggression comes. And if you are not ready for it like it was, you will get so much out of this comp.
Yeah, we were seeing battle with the operator on B, just put in a lot of pressure. Sometimes him and Flora would push on through art. As you're saying, there's a lot of micro things that you can do at the beginning of the game. And it's so good to see the night and day performance from that first map into probably a role that just fits him better. Yes, again, he's Turkish, he's going to be shooting a lot.
I'm going to just ask the question that I think everyone is thinking. Why was he playing Sova on map 1, Pips? And why is he not just perma doing this?
I mean, I have no clue, I guess.
But would you like to see him just be doing this?
Yeah, I think when you have kind of like young talent into your team, you also want to give him some space, right? So you want to make him comfortable as well. And as he showed right now that he's pretty comfortable and able to perform really, really good. And I think it depends on the idea of how they want the Apex team to work.
So, do you think that for a map like Haven, they could replicate this composition or something very similar? Like, would you be compelled to going back to the Phoenix days on? Yeah, but first I want to know about the Phoenix take on Haven. Do you think it's still?
I mean, I think it's viable if you have a game plan, how do you want to play it, but there may be some better things like ISO, for example. Yeah, but overall, I think it's about like how they approach the game plan. Is it like, okay, we really need to all in for Florissant and we need to support everything as we can? Or it's like, okay, yeah, Florissant can also play with us and we will need to give the space to Batushnak as well. So I think this is the biggest question to Apex.
Yeah, of course, like, we were seeing the numbers just in the screen. At the end, they went a little bit down, but that first half was all his. But let's not forget, they were having a lot of issues on the attack. We barely see them close in this match. It was on a 1v1. They were not having any luck in all the executes that they were having. And I wonder how much of this is going to pass on to Haven now.
I don't think I could have taken a back-to-back days of 11-something comebacks. I don't think my brain would have been able to deal with that. But yeah, let's talk about this, Haven, and let's talk a little bit about Team Liquid, because obviously maybe there was a world they do make that comeback. This would have been a 2-0. Yeah. What would you like to see? I'll start with you, Pips. I don't know how much Team Liquid you have been watching, but what would you like to see from Team Liquid here?
On Haven?
Yeah, what do you want them to do? How
did they actually play Haven? I don't even remember that they played Haven. I saw them fracture.
No.
I don't think that they showed their Haven, but Apex did. I remember they played the game versus Gentlemates, and it was actually a pretty nice match. And they, like, as I remember, they had the game plan about like early game they were abusing A lot on Apex, and then they switched to Perma B. So if Liquid did their homework, maybe it would be doable. So probably in that case you want to have early A fights to force them to be into switching into starting to play triple B on defense and then move around.
I hope that the homework is not worth anything. I hope that, they change the composition in Pearl to make room for what Badu wanted to do, or maybe they learned the lesson from maybe we don't want to play this conventional. We saw Otters playing and he was on the breach, but as we're saying, playing the double duelist will also be kind of a fix, and if you want to surprise your opponents, since you cannot prep for them on this map, I would go for that pick.
Yeah, and since I felt like Odorous was pretty phenomenal as well the last time he played, on his role specifically, and I just don't expect Batu to be doing the same. especially after seeing map 1. I want Apex to just double down on this idea of having the double duelers. They have three of some of the most experienced players we have in the league. So you would expect the likes of Mosey, Avova, and Hive to be able to pick up on the supportive roles for these two. But yes, for Liquid, this is elimination. They don't want to be going out here right now at this spot. So let's take a look at Agent Select and see what we're going to get here. And we're going to get a Tejo coming out on this. Pipson, tell me, how do you feel about these comps?
I would say that Apex comp is the most basic one, right? And the problem with Tejo, which I see lately, is that the agent is out for like a week or something, and his win rate, I think, across all the regions is around like 20% overall. Because how I see it is, if you pick Tejo, you are not ready to play this map. Why? What did you do for the last 3 months of preparation? That the agent is out, and you are 5 days after you are picking this agent.
Okay, but so what do you think is the potential? Why do you think Team Liquid want to go with it? Because of course Hype is not going to have a good time.
Well, you're going to be able to answer this question another time. I'm very sorry, but for now, would you be able to do the honors for me, Pipson, and toss this over to Mitch and Tom?
Okay, Mitch and Tom, enjoy. I think it will be a really fun game. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Pipson, and our analyst desk. Yes, it's time to get into map number 3. It's Haven, and one hell of a matchup ahead of us. Abyss and Pearl, both of them. We saw Liquid start slow, but get there in the end. If this is to be where they take it across the line, let's see a bit more of a competitive beginning.
I'm nervous not so much for Liquid as a whole, but for Kamek, because I saw his Sage on Fracture, and although individually he did fine, like a lot of the placement of like walls and stuff, it just seemed a little bit off at times, like making mistakes. This agent is brand new. I don't know how much he could have practiced, and it kind of leans into what Pipson was saying. It's like, how much can you have really put into play on this map so far?
Camo, 1 HP left on Fluorescent, and the stun was enough. Beautiful from Patatek. In the corner is Kiko as well, and that's the double that almost triple. It's stolen away by Nats and Camo, but the damage was done, and an in-zone flawless as a result. Well, I said I wanted to see them come in a little bit warm. It looks like they've delivered that.
Yeah, no, it had a really clean start to the game. Good read on where their opponents were going, and just having this many players on the site, it becomes incredibly difficult. I also do like that we see the sort of late usage of some of the guided missiles put into that corner, just so that if you are trying to swing at the same time, the possibilities unlikely. But ultimately, a lot of it came down to the Camo Kiko show. Investment for Apex here, nothing. But they are taking quite quick control in towards the garage. Unfortunately, no one there to challenge. I'm just going to fall off of it.
Yeah, but there were players close enough to hear it, and that was the idea. So Avova gets to walk right up behind. None. Oh, that's disappointing. Damage done to Kamek. He's 46 HP, but he's alive. The weapon's not in the hands of Apex, nor is the A site, and that is the bottom line. Apex will now have to just push through this smoke. It's a one-way smoke as well. Their legs visible as they emerge around the corner. A minute on the clock, though, and no real need for them to pick up the pace. Worth mentioning as well, Liquid have won only 1 pistol round so far. They went 6-1 up in that half.
Okay. Hype's doing well. A little bit of extra damage. A couple of players dropped, making things at least a little bit more costly. I do believe they'll retrieve most of the weapons. I think there might have still been one gun that dropped to the floor and a Spectre for Nats. Also, the one thing with Apex that I quite like is obviously when you look at most teams, you see what classic they have. Whereas when you look at Apex, theirs isn't quite in the game yet. So you get to see what they enjoy. And I think that we've seen the Foot Classic come out for Hype. That's why he has 2 kills in this one, because they are experts of the Classic. I think Batu might have been running the Tai Lu Classic, which, you know, a little bit more niche. I don't know how many people in EMEA were running that one. Oh, okay. The stun combination made it incredibly awkward, but I definitely feel like he stepped into that a little bit more. I think there was a safe corner.
I think he was all right in that corner. Maybe not, maybe not. Maybe he just looked that way to us. I'm going to say he wasn't safe. There was nowhere he could have went there, Tom. Okay. Same result in the match.
As a ex-Alliance player, you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Nothing to do with that, Tom. I mean, I don't know why you bring that out. No, it's just I'd say that for anybody. I'd say that for anybody in that situation.
Who happened to be an ex-Alliance.
Anybody whose name was Hype.
Okay. Anybody in the next game you might particularly think of that you'd also give the same wiggle room to?
You know, probably all the players. All the players
But
equally.
specifically?
That's my motto. But probably Cat if I had to.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
2-0 start for Team Liquid. They've started hot. That's what we wanted to see. A couple of lighter investments, but still those Guardians pose a pretty big threat in Team Liquid's bonus round. They don't invest that much money, but they still pack a punch. Flank as well being watched.
Not already. That is going to be Batu. Being able to find Kama. The thing is that time is still ticking. The guided salvo denied them again. You can already see 2 uses of it within the round, and that was before the spike even went down. Paranoia has left both players at the back completely blinded, and there's some weaknesses in the weaponry, but that doesn't seem to matter. Avova now tagged desperately low. Shield tap regenerated, but that won't help versus a headshot. And now you look at Batu, who's fantastic in the last map, but what can he realistically do here? Absolutely nothing. That weaker purchase for Liquid has gone fantastically well, even converting what is actually a bonus. Because a lot of the time nowadays it's not a bonus. That was a real bonus.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we seen over the last couple of days, let alone weeks, where we've seen teams come into that round with 4 Vandals, or like 4 Bulldogs and a Vandal, things like this.
Maybe it wasn't safe, actually. Yeah, it did look like the plant pot was slightly covered. It just looks weird graphically.
That's what I said. You didn't believe me.
No, of course not.
Well, I mean, at this point, 3-0 start. Like I said, the only time that Team Liquid have taken a pistol round so far was that second half of Abyss. And they went 6-1 up, an arguably better start here. But they haven't got to 6 yet, but denying that 3rd round, putting Apex down to low economy where they've only got pistols. That should be a 4-0 start, but most importantly, YSA could even be better. You've built up a huge credit barrier, unless Apex are able to do a significant amount of damage in this round.
Yeah, chances of that basically come down to hitting some sheriff shots. Kamek, that salvo's already been used for some early space denial, but space that was only taken to eventually be given up. The B site somewhat open for business, but a smoke placed down by Kiko just to put some doubt in their minds. Like when they were running the Phoenix Yora, you'd expect to see them run through that, but with this composition, it has so much more risk about it.
Bomb grenade out.
And after feeling out the map now for around a minute, it's eventually going to have to fall back into some form of take. And the problem, Mitch, is they've been given nothing.
Yeah, this is what I think Team Liquid did well in the previous map at times. Just forcing Apex to, or even more so in Abyss. Abyss is exactly it, yeah.
30
where
seconds
they
left.
were forcing Apex to make these blind hits into sites. No information, just guesses, and the reveals, bits of information they can get. The stun was good, but the capitalization not there. It's faded by the time they push through. Fluorescent good to land one shot, but Camo keep that angle secure for at least a moment longer. 12 seconds, just need to run the clock down here. With the weaker weapons, damage is most certainly being done. It's Kiko who levels the playing field with the shorty, but the numbers advantage still there for the side of Apex, and the plant coming down with a second left on the clock leaves Nats to clutch it all. He won't even land the first, as Apex gonna pay safeguard Thrifty for their first round on the board.
That one looked just more disjointed from Liquid. Like, again, they seem to have a fairly solid read, having a couple of players at the back of the site. Fluorescent's initial kill and Batu as well, but then it was almost just like, okay, how can I make the play? Or at least that's what it felt like. Nats being incredibly far away, maybe wanting to try and deny them from picking up some of those weapons along the way, but eventually, with no hero to be found, Apex get on that board a little bit earlier, and you spoke about it, like, if they were going to do damage in this round, well, that's about as good as it gets. This time, no salvo put down, so that space is taken, but you can see Liquid have gone for a different dynamic altogether, completely clearing out C long. Now they can gamble a rotation a little bit earlier.
Camo's coming out to try to spot someone. Has Kiko there as well. It's a great bait if they were to peek into it. He dashes back to the A site. They maybe hunt him down, and then the opportunity for Kiko to just decimate them. It's not being bitten into just yet. Apex, in fact, having a similar setup with the 2-man hold as Avova, Fluorescent, ready to swing out on A long, do damage, spotting for the aggression, and that's the name of the game for Apex. But we've seen this before. Go back to map 1. They pump the brakes, they wait for aggression, it doesn't come in. 40 seconds on the clock, you gotta make a move. And they don't know where to go. They don't know where the numbers are, and even getting out of long, they're not quite sure of the setup that they're facing. They'll find out soon.
The spike is going the other way. That kill sells an idea, but Kiko is still standing.
30 seconds left.
Angle not cleared, not expecting a second player to be there, and now what was initially looking like the heat becomes the hit. They're going straight back towards Nats, who's just holding on the angle. That second might not be a kill, it almost is.
That was 5
with
damage.
the shorty. And now they have to try and clear out the man who's behind them, using that ultimate to get into position. It ends up being all too easy. We said it many a time in this map and the last and the one before. Kiko has just been a menace, the thorn in their side.
It is a game of patience, and this time it was 1 out. 35 seconds on the clock when they get that kill.
But that's the thing. I think Fluorescent checks, but the smoke is being set up by Avova. So that's the problem.
Fight,
yeah.
And then your other player is not involved in the fight. They're just executed.
Thank you, my boy.
You're spot on with that. So the fact that they weren't completely caught off guard by it, the shot still landed a little too quick, and when Kiko's on this kind of form,
9 and 2.
9 and 2 start, it is going to be difficult to break the momentum that Team Liquid are building up. Rifles, though, for Apex, this is where they look to do it.
Oh, already an early stun thrown in. So much utility put into the corner. There is no escape. And they're pushing off the back of it as well. It's definitely become a bit awkward, but it doesn't matter when you have the support. A beautiful set play off the back of the Armageddon, stuns and salvo. It forced them into an early fight. And you think about it, Apex have been battling for A-Long every single round. For Fluorescent at least. We'll find one, but they have got eyes on the spike. Gonna have to be, I feel, a well-timed swing almost together. No, they're just going straight into the firing squad. And okay, not the prettiest of sprays from Nats, but they're not gonna mind. Job done. 4 alive.
I thought that would have been wait 2 seconds for the smoke, let it bloom, and then at least you force them to push forward. But look, at that point, the round was already very much up for grabs by their opponents. This is wonderful, though. We talked a big game about Foot and how they've been using this agent as being the most impressive displays. This opener to this round, though, that is gorgeous, because it takes a little second for the guided salvo to reveal. So you see the ult and you go, what are they, stupid? They left a huge gap over here. Understand? Oh, no! And there is just nowhere for you to go. Apex have called a timeout after that round because they had a buy round. They had another buy round, which then you just saw didn't go too well. They got pushed into their own spawn. They became the defenders and didn't even know they were defending. Now, 5-1 is where they find themselves. Ult's online, but credits are a little bit shaky. They need to be very careful. How much do you invest into this round? Do you save it all for the next, or do you get mostly rifles and try to use the ults to bridge the gap? It's a risky game. Get you on the board early, close in the gap, sure. But if it doesn't go right, then everything's going to go wrong.
You've got rifles on everybody except Fluorescent, who has blades. So I think that an investment here
go for it.
makes
Are you
sense.
going to use Rolling Thunder? Are you going to use, like, what is your protocol for when those ults get thrown in? Because buying rifles is one thing, but we don't want to see it all thrown with no games.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing just a full-on C-site execution with a Hunter's Fury behind it, because there's not many places to stand at the back of the C-site. I think a lot of the early aggression with Tejo has been towards that A-site. I think this is definitely a spot with an opener, and so far a lot of that has been taken for free.
And as well, keeping your Rolling Thunder, do you want it pre or post plant? Because post plants have been a struggle so far, although most rounds have been.
Deploying drone.
Apex, 1 round on the board. The Blade Storm could be the difference maker, but a big push down mid by Team Liquid sends them into a frenzy. It's Panatek picking up 1 with Camo. He's stuck down the bottom of mid. Camo gets picked off, and a chance to level the playing field. But look at Nats creeping his way up to the door. He's caught him over, and they'll swing together to close this round. Wonderful response from Team Liquid. Even with that 5-1 lead, they're going to keep throwing in these little curveballs.
Yeah, I think the fact as well is they hear the drone and they put the aftershock straight through the wall. So they knew there was at least 1 player in this position just off the utility that had been used. They'd seen, I think, even a little bit more going towards that garage spot. So they're like, okay, we know there's someone there. We know they've just had a moment to chat and try and fix things. Let's get up in their face. And they've been winning so many of these opening duels. I had questions about Kamek, but honestly, so far, everything he's been doing has been fantastic. Kiko, well, you would have wanted to try and kill him off as early as possible. He's been great, but he will just about live to tell the tale.
Oh, Fluorescent caught by a little jump up by Camo above the smoke. I like the idea here. They played 4 in mid, showed a lot of presence, even started to make noise, so they think that's where the hit's coming in, hoping that aggression would come in from Liquid that they could punish. But Kamek and Kiko are the ones punishing. Sure, one falls eventually, but now a 4v2 on the back. And again, it's tempered aggression. It's Team Liquid saying, there's a lot of players there, we will push, but not all the way. We go to long, we sit back and hold our spots. It works out now for a massive advantage. It's Avova and Hype who have to put the pieces of this puzzle back together.
One kill could get the lockdown, but you have to feel that's only going to be utilized if this round feels winnable. And I'm just looking at Patatek set up with a stun there, just waiting to catch him. Even does the deed himself, leaving Avova stuck in the corner. There's only really one place left that he could be. Could teleport to the other side of the map, but realistically, are you winning this? Absolutely not. And I said it, beginning of the round, this man gets tagged to 12 HP. I'm like, you're going to want to kill him. He comes out with a double that in both cases were high impact kills.
Yeah, your trade is you've denied them mid-control. So you deny Team Liquid's mid-control early on. You put a key player down to 12 HP. And how does that scenario end? You lose Fluorescent. You lose a big player right at the start of the round. Camo, good decision making to do the updraft. Then they go back. Okay, hopefully, because of all that noise, Team Liquid have pushed. They've taken space. We can punish that. But they took just enough space that they still had ground to fight on, ready on long and short for that pounce. This is really textbook play from Team Liquid. They're doing everything right. And Apex, they need rounds. Salvo's on its way with the stun. Avova just about makes it out thanks to the shrouded step. But Fluorescent and Batu are not as lucky. That's a death blow, especially in a round like this. Pistols, low HP on Avova, and Batu and Fluorescent out of the round. Put 8-1 on the board.
Yeah, Kamek is getting more and more confident by the seconds, but again, it's down to the setup. The stun put into play to help the Salvo get the kill. If you escape it, there's only one place you can really be. And well, other than that, we haven't seen too much of Nats, but when you do walk into his setup, it normally ends in death. Malzy, last man standing, can't get a single thing done. 8-1. Again, clean from the side of Liquid. Oh, we did see a sort of late response in the last map from Liquid when Apex took a massive lead, but realistically, again, I've just not seen anything that makes me think that's going to happen.
Well, Tom, exactly. If this was 8-1 to Apex, I'd start to believe that the game is still online because of what we saw before. We saw Team Liquid start map 1 slow, warm up in the end. Start map 2 slow, warm up in the end, and almost take the series. Almost push to an OT at least. And now we see Team Liquid start hot. Apex are the ones that are slow.
Preston's down to 45 already.
Dropped at the start of the last couple rounds. Fluorescent hasn't had a chance to shine. A lot of ultimates here for Apex. Whether that's going to be the difference maker or not remains to be seen.
I think a lot of credit needs to be given to Patatek. How he's been playing. Oh, just look at the deep position, yeah. Camo's so far up. Wins this battle versus Hype. It just, even if it comes down to a retake, this is a spot that needs to be cleared. 2 players currently going in this direction. They're clearing the angle up close. Camo knows that they're there, but it's a big kill for Hype. That leaves the C site completely open. Has to come down to a full retake, and it's not like there's any ultimates really on that defensive side. Okay, Nats can reveal where they are, but I think once they've planted, there'll probably be a fairly educated guess as to where they are anyway.
Well, yeah, unless they think it's a B plant and their headsets are unplugged. Should be a fairly easy deduction. A guided salvo online for Kamek to try to rob back some space. Fluorescent down to 14 HP. She's been tagged up in 2 engagements. Stunned now as well, but she's not out of the round just yet. There it is, the kill found. Avova helping out, and Team Liquid finally hitting a hurdle they can't just jump over. It's Patatek 1v5. And a second round surely locked in now.
His credits are maxed out. Not just going to throw the weapon away, of course, but was hoping that maybe can take a gun or 2 away. isn't going to be the case. Very clean round as well for Apex. The best possible way that they could break back in this match. But again, you kind of look at this one and ask the question of whether or not it's something that can be repeated. You have a complete gamble over on the A side of the map. You have Camo as that solo player taking what was a fairly risky fight. And then the site completely under your control with no ultimates to get back into it. That's probably not going to happen again, especially over these next couple of rounds. And with Nats now having an operator, I feel like he is almost destined to be some sort of site anchor. 2 operators, in fact.
Yeah, the double op towards the end of the game. Lots of money. Why not?
Padatek didn't drop one. He has 8,700 credits, and Nats has 0.
I guess he can drop the rest of the squad after this round anyways.
I don't like the economy management. It makes me upset.
Keeping his econ high. Bova has to get out. Yeah, it cancels the ultimate. At least spots one. They know that Kiko's close. They still have to root him from position. Fluorescent focused elsewhere. Drops one. Turns to help. That ends up being her demise. Luckily, Malzy's good for the trade. And Apex will still make it to the site. Kamek on his way in. He has a gap. And he'll have a 1v1 in a second, but Hype's the one to win it. Camo all alone. Op. There's no question of saving it. They've got the money. There's no question of winning it either. 3 found for Apex. They are starting to heat up towards the end of the half, at least.
Yeah, they're giving themselves a lifeline, especially if they can take the pistols. They're definitely an opportunity to get back into this game. Seems easier said than done now with just how dominant we've seen this half going in the way of Team Liquid. And I'm looking again at the fact that Armageddon's online. What was happening last time it was available. It was just such a crazy amount of damage. They're set up outside that A site again. I'm hoping we're not about to witness exactly the same thing. No, this time it's just the salvo being used.
Yeah, that could have been disastrous.
It is. It is.
Camo's double. Padatek with one as well. They've chipped away at the Apex numbers early in the round. Now, Camo almost fell. He's left on 30. But with Hype and Back2 having to recover this last round with 3 ultis online for Liquid 2 that, granted, might not have huge impact, but if Nats can manage to find a body, they've got massive information to play around in the late half. Or late round, I should say. It's already the late half. And then even if Hype uses this lockdown, and I think its best use might even be as a fake to buy space for his teammate. Or perhaps the post plant if they can get there.
This position does somewhat sell a bit of a ruse. There could still be a move towards the B side, but that's quickly gone. And wow, that's another real benefit of that salvo. It's just, okay, I'm just going to place it exactly where you have placed the lockdown, and it's all too easy. Armageddon even onto the side, but it wasn't necessary. A 9-3 dominant defensive half from Liquid.
Riding down round 12, map 3. Beautiful setup from Kamek. Love to see that utility in play. Great usage of the agent. Let's see how half 2 fares after the break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, folks. 9-3 at the halftime, and it's Liquid leading by 6. Apex about to be tested on the defensive side. We've seen Liquid with great adaptations, tempered aggression, and fantastic use of Tejo. There is a lot to report home about for their defensive side. Let's see if it's going to be the same for Apex. Remember, the loser of this map well, that's the end of Kickoff for them.
Yeah,
They go home.
4 rounds. That's all
Almost
it could
2
be.
months off.
A pistol victory for Liquid. And we could be saying goodnight to Apex. As said, it's been a tough one for them, getting Batu in so late. Obviously, he flew in this morning, if you didn't know how close his arrival was, but even still, they would have hoped for that last place, joint last, wouldn't be theirs. Direct take already for Liquid, backside cleared already. Those angles that can catch you off guard, especially in pistol rounds. Both of them cleared so easily by the guided salvo. And while post plant, just think about it, he could have that back online already in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, it won't be long. Patatek opening this one up. Halsey's down, Flash is there, but no re-aggression. They're biding their time for Kiko to fire through that Paranoia. They know they'll be grouped up right about now. Paranoia in response to one of their own, and it's a big play for Team Liquid. Double the numbers of Apex, and this pistol round, it carries so much weight. That weight now on Fluorescent's shoulders. 40 health. And the guided salvo, it should put this one to bed. The cam's destroyed, but the time has already been bought, and now it's done and dusted. Team Liquid, double digits, and Apex are still on 3.
That piece of utility is so strong. You see it used to clear the site initially, and I was just watching. Kamek initially manages to get one of the kills just here, and as he's backing off, they know the timing. It's going to come straight back online, ready for him to put it into play. Made things impossible for Fluorescent. And while that does almost seem like the nail in the coffin, you're looking at the investment here from Apex, and they are going to play for the buy rounds. You couldn't really blame them if they did risk it, go for some Sheriffs, try and win it back immediately with how far behind they are, but it is a pick your poison moment. And well, Liquid have decided, I really liked that pistol round strat. I think we do it again.
Where Apex have looked best has been where Batu, where Fluorescent are feeling confident, getting in the faces of their opponents. Maybe we'll see that in the next defensive round when the rifles come out, because Team Liquid's aggression was wonderful to witness. We expect to see some of that same flair from Apex. Should be forgiven, though, with the risks not being taken. Now, it's only Classics on the way back into the site. This should be a massacre with big ultimates being built up. Patatek, a couple of kills. Camo doing just the same. And it's a nice round scoreline. 11-3. At this point, Tom, it's got to be flawless for Apex. This is, we talk about uphill battles. Maybe a timeout now would be good.
Yeah, the worry as well is that Batu not being on that duelist anymore. I think it's something that they might have to think of in that downtime, is whether or not they do opt to play double duelist on more maps, because sure, again, first time on the stage, but map 1 missing, put him on the Yoru, best player in the server, put him back over on the Sova, having a rough time again. It is looking like night and day. He might genuinely have double his own kills across 2 maps on 1. Nonetheless, Hype is already going to spot the contact. That contact is coming his way.
Got support at least, but look at the utility. Again, it forces you out in the open, and he is being chased. Camo hot in his heels, picks him up, looks for more in the backside. Malzy, low HP, and he'll survive. So will Evolva, thriving, in fact. And Malzy wasn't that low. I thought a few more of those bullets had landed onto him. In fact, he's fighting fit and ready to eliminate the last player. There we go, Apex. Around on the board. And a long distance to go.
Yeah, it was a pacey attempt from Liquid. I don't mind the idea. When you've gone for those C-side takes, adapt it slightly. I think Hype does well to sort of just hold his ground long enough. I do think that's going to be one of those things of players sort of adapting their play, of almost looking at it and going, okay, I can survive at least a moment to try and take those fights. For now, though, I'm seeing an attempted early stun setup towards the A site, but I don't think it's likely to connect on too much.
Well, this is the thing. Last round, we saw the same thing, a big push up behind, and I think that was read by Team Liquid. They saw that when they put Presence in on C, A was pushed, and Fluorescent went all the way through. Now, they fake out C. They make Presence here on long. and then try to take down Fluorescent, but that will not be as easy as you might think. Nat's at least able to trade, but then Hype goes out for some aggro of his own. It is that tempered aggression we wanted to see, and it's working out for Apex. 3v1 now, with Nat's the only man standing. I think this would be an ace for him, but denied at the third hurdle, 11-5. The comeback continues.
Again, in terms of the idea, I don't mind it. You've done the same thing 3 times in a row, so you try and sell the fake and then go in the other direction. But as you said, Apex weren't just sitting there waiting while they made those C-site takes. They were having progressive movements towards that deep A control, and this time Fluorescent does incredibly well, because even a 1-for-1 trade there, and that is a quick push in towards the A site. She'll come into this next round not only having an Outlaw, but also having the Blade Storm, which definitely makes things that little bit more exciting. But again, I like this from Liquid. You haven't had the need to slow the game down at all thus far. An incredibly dominant first half. So now you can use your pauses a little bit more sparingly. Choose to stop things early. Don't want to allow their opponents to get back into the game like they did on the last map. But this round, well, ultimate-wise, actually a lot of potential. You got the Armageddon already, Rolling Thunder very close, Blade Storm 2 away, maybe 3 Farm and Orb here and there. Weaponry-wise, in the bin.
For Team Liquid, I mean, this is exactly the same situation that they found themselves in on that last map. It's why they call that timeout so early, like you said. Big lead, 11-3. That's where they were down in the 3 last time. They almost made the comeback happen, the early timeout, to make sure that the same opportunity is not given to their opponents. The Blade Storm for Fluorescent, a scary thought. Becoming more and more of a fan of her by the minute, not just the gameplay, but the Rune Dagger as well. It's an exclusive club. I like to see it being represented down there in the stage. Looking for 12. Team Liquid setting their sights on C again. This time there's no fake. It's a direct approach.
Trying to clear out that backside.
Ova
has moved back into the angle that was closed, and while Camo gets his Blade Storm, but unfortunately already dead. Hype, this is his time to shine. 4 kills, Fluorescent with 1. That'll be his ultimate online for the next round, and Fluorescent didn't even need to pop the Blade Storm, I don't believe.
Yeah, still there.
It's an important round as well. Yeah, keeping rounds clean like that means that, it's okay, you want to invest into an operator, you can. It's not as much of a risk. It won't put you out of the game. And funnily enough, that is exactly what Fluorescent has done.
It's exactly what Team Liquid did last map as well on their fight back into the game. For Apex, Blade Storm, like you said, lockdown as well. What I'm worried about, we saw great usage of this Armageddon when it came to that previous
with Rolling Thunder as well.
Attack side, Rolling Thunder, breach stuns as well for just pushing into side. It seems like it'll be easier to use. Apex getting ahead of the problem. They're already pushing up short. Camo good for the first, but the stun, it slows him down. Fluorescent's waiting patiently for that opportunity, and there it is. Converted onto Patatek, and the numbers now favoring Apex.
And Rolling Thunder's gone. Like, that's one of the ults I was most worried about going into this round. Not because the stun itself is fantastic, but because you then can't escape that Armageddon. Even still, though, Liquid are going to slow things down. Letting the IGO of Nats work the map, try and find a gap for himself and his battle versus Hype. Could be something integral. It's just the fact that he's got this far. It definitely makes me nervous. You can see that Malsey is starting to spot back towards B, but he's holding deep. I don't think he expects anybody to have gone this far forward.
Hype still holding that angle, but the problem is he might not get a chance to use it. It depends. If Nats goes towards him here, it's a death sentence, but he's seeing C sites wide open. And look at the movement that's going down over towards A. They're immediately realizing that there's no need to commit to that A-site push. The rotations have come in. C is wide open. And so the spike will make its way there. The plant will be found. They even assume that there's players on long, because why would this much of the map be open? That could work to Apex's benefit, though.
Yeah. They've got the lockdown. I think that's the reason they're willing to give this up completely, is they can clear a lot of those positions. But Nats, he doesn't want to allow them to even put it down in the first place. He's going to try and get ahead of any of that utility. It's something that surely has to be expected. Dart through, they don't realize how close he is. It's a good trade, but then Kiko's here as well. Liquid have done fantastically to turn this back, and just look at the HP. 6 and 25, make that 0, and now just Flot standing, but she won't last much longer. A massive clutch round based off well, Kiko's individual skill, but mostly Nat's on that lurk.
Well, the start of both maps, Tom, it felt like Apex had slammed the door shut in Team Liquid's face and had turned the key, but somehow Team Liquid, they cracked that lock. They're back in the game. They're leading. They need one round with 6 chances to do it, and so far they've looked clean. Even here, the use of the Armageddon is nice. The paranoia right in front as well. There was no way for them to claim the space they needed on the C site, and there was no one on the C site stopping them. They were just holding from the position in Garage. Team Liquid come into this round as well, having lost Patatek early. They didn't use that Rolling Thunder to close out the round, so that's even going to be online as well. There is so much to discuss here for Apex, so many dangers that await them, and it's not just in this coming round. 6 in a row. Perfection is what they have to aim for, and they can't be even a mark shy.
It's looking like their ex-player might be their undoing. Kiko again. I like that. I've mentioned it already. I'll say it once more. His role swap onto controller has been so impressive. Like, I feel like each time we've watched him, he showed a mastery of the abilities, but 100%. Also very much able to frag every single time, be it on the Astra, which is the one I do feel like is the most difficult to switch over, but especially on this Omen. Like, it just looks like he's having fun with it. Batu, not so much, having a rough time. He's opted to switch over to the Odin. Potential hit, and that hit, that landed. Kamik's down to 32 HP.
That was absolutely lovely. Nice idea. Kamik still, though, drawing air for now. Denial of the plans, perhaps, or damage done. As a result, Patatek will go down. They spam the angle as well. Okay, opening pick found freely. Kamik down low. This is the first hurdle. The lockdown even used just to ensure it. It's a good thing as well, with Camo finding 8 seconds to get off that site. Still a player on backside, but Kiko has ultimate. Is he going to try to cancel the ulti? No, instead he's just fighting forward, catching them off guard. They didn't expect to see that much resistance, and it's bought time here. 5 seconds left until Guided Salvo comes back online. That's going to deny a defuse. It's coming in. It should be. Defuse is already underway. There it is eventually. Might even have been late had they have stuck, but they did not. And now Malsey has to make this work with the operator. Limited time, and the shot not even fired. It's Team Liquid, 13-6. They send Apex out of Kickoff. What a feeling that must be for Kiko.
There's a few sort of crossovers between these orgs. The partners of last year, you've got Kiko as the player who used to be with them on the Ascension run. And I'll be honest, he is the main reason that they've been sent out of this tournament. An impressive performance, but I will say on the other side, you look at the sort of trials and the tribulations that Apex have had to go through coming into this tournament with a player arriving today. The fact that they've still shown that there is some individual brilliance, I'll say that that man needs to be on a duelist forever. I want to see him and Floor play double duelist on every map because it was sick. The fact is, though, when it came down to the depth that they had, it wasn't quite enough, and that's where Liquid was able to take it.
Yeah, we can see plenty of positives, though, for the side of Apex. Both maps starting out so well, and having a player join them down on that stage cannot have been easy. They've played with a coach. Kickoff has had plenty of difficulties for them. They can have their head held high as a potential danger coming into stage 1. Time for them to go and work on their stage 1 form. This team, we're going to get to see evolve even further, and that's been a fun part of watching Team Liquid play, Tom. I think day in, day out, you can see the improvements, and that makes me scared for what this team can do in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I think showing some resilience as well and being incredibly far down in matches. They almost managed to 2-0 this series. The fact is, though, there's definitely still some work to be done. Their match versus Soot was a little bit more shaky. So we'll see how far they're able to take this, because obviously it's nothing but perfection from this point onwards. We'll have to see how that goes, but I'm definitely excited. I think this is probably the best look we've seen from them. Kamik moving over to that Teo was exciting. Like, I was a bit nervous about it, considering they can't have had much prep time, but it seemed like the ideas were there. It seems like pretty much everything worked out, and well, speaking of working out, a man who has switched roles and done it impressively, I can't wait to hear from Kiko.
Well, I've got a treat for you, Tom Biz, and for everybody here as well. And you guys at home, I'm joined by Kiko from Team Liquid. Now, congratulations on that win. I know it's no longer your former teammates on the other side of this Apex, but was it strange at all, or bittersweet maybe, having to knock your former, I guess, org out of this competition?
I mean, it was a fun game because I talked to Danny a lot with their head coach. So yeah, we had like a sort of like friendly rivalry there. So it was really fun to play them on the stage. So yeah.
My goodness, you have developed and evolved so much since you were on Apex. I want to spend some time talking about this new role because I think the community as a whole and a lot of the other players and coaches are extremely impressed with you and your new role. So first of all, how are you feeling? You feel comfortable? You think maybe this even suits you better than the duelist?
I feel super comfortable in the role just because of the work that Lohan and the coach.
Okay, we're going to take a sidebar because that was Yumpy screaming off it. Do you want to do it again in case they didn't catch you, Yumpy? One more time? One more time? Oh, okay. Nice. He said, Kiko, I love you. Nice. Yeah, it's nice that he's there. It's nice that he's there supporting you, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm really happy for him as well. So he's been doing really well. So good job, Yumpy.
You're going to come and watch his game if you're on your day off?
When is it?
The BBL game next week?
I hope so. I mean, I hope I have time. So.
Okay, maybe we'll catch you here. Sorry, let's go back to the smoke. So you feel more comfortable on this compared to the duelist?
I feel like I'm more comfortable in duelist, but I think that the way that Lohan is using me as a player is like, I think he has a really good mind for the game, and he's been helping me a lot with learning the role, and he's been setting me up for success a lot. So I think he really sees my potential, and he's like giving me a lot of utility and a lot of resources. So he's actually like enabling me a lot.
I mean, obviously, as a duelist player, you know, when you get told like, oh, I kind of want to try you on something else, it might not initially be something you want to hear. So what was your reaction when you were told, you know, we intend to keep you on this roster, but we want you to play smokes?
I think I was fine with it, just because like all the young, all the duelists are pretty young, and I'm getting old now. I'm 21.
Oh, stop it! Stop it!
Yeah,
stop
so
it.
I mean, I think that long term, that smokes is better, but I do miss playing duelists a little bit. But I'm having a lot of fun on smokes on this roster as well, especially.
And are there any particular other players that you've maybe watched the VODs of? You tried to pick up some tendencies from other controller players?
I think the main person I watch is Profik up there, actually.
Oh, okay.
He's actually an incredible smokes player, which I watched actually a lot of VODs in the off-season when I was playing, like practicing to play some smokes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I hope this happens. I hope there's a lot of storyline going on. Thank you very much, Kiko, for joining me, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Well, that's not the only thing we have for you guys today. We got another elimination match coming up, so do not go anywhere. When we come back, Gentlemates will be taking on Koi.
Red Bull gives you wings.